Hi Peaches, it's Shaaba. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video. We are diving into the arseholes again, as we are doing regularly now on the Shaaba channel. As always, thanks to Backstage Peaches for helping me choose the Am I the Arseholes for today's video. If you want to find out how to become a Backstage Peach, you can click the little join button that's somewhere down there. Today's collection all seem to centre around families overstepping, and I feel like I have a lot of experience of dealing with this. So let's dive straight in, shall we? Am I the arsehole for asking my son to give me his boss's number? Why would you need his boss's number? I'm so confused. I can already see family overstepping. My son, 18, started a new job for the first time ever in his life recently at a restaurant. The place isn't too far, but it's still around a 17 to 20 minute drive. That's very specific. 17 to 20 minutes. He started working a week ago. I asked him to provide me with his boss's number in case of an emergency, refusing, saying it was weird and unnecessary. I didn't think he quite understood what I meant by an emergency, so I brought it up with him this morning. He suddenly flipped out and told me that he won't give me his boss's number and that I should quit asking and treating him like a 4-year-old. I have to say I found this reaction horrific because I already explained to him why I needed the number. My husband told me to leave it alone and that I don't need the number just because I'm being paranoid. To me, it wasn't about paranoia, but to make sure I can check on him if and when out of reach. My husband says it's making me look controlling and intrusive. My son came home and refused to speak to me, doesn't even eat with us and stayed in his room. Am I the asshole? Mum. I really think this mum has good intentions. I do, but I'm sorry to say it, love. I do think you're the asshole. A subconscious asshole. Again, clearly you don't mean to be. You're just trying to be nice, but you know when people, you can tell in the way that things are written, like the wording, that people are just a little bit overbearing? This is absolutely the vibe that I get when reading this out. The fact that they know it's a 17 to 20 minute drive, it is quite patronising to say, you know, that he started working a week ago, first time ever in his life at the age of 18. Like, of course it will be. He's young. He's got to figure it out. The whole, I don't think he quite understood what I meant by an emergency. And then saying to make sure I can check on him if and when he's out of reach. Like, no, you don't do that. If I was that 18-year-old, right, and I figured out that my mum had called my boss to be like, hi, when's Shaaba coming home? She's about 10 minutes later than usual. I would want to crawl into a hole and I would not want to work there anymore. It's just not what you do. It's a little bit weird, and I actually would feel very annoyed as the boss if my number was given out to family of my employees. I just find that very odd, especially in a restaurant setting. Like, if you needed to contact him so badly because it's an actual emergency, you can go to the restaurant. It's a public space. Or you could call the restaurant itself. You don't need the boss's number. I just find it all a little bit odd and very intrusive. And I'm sure you mean well. I'm sure you're just trying to be protective. That's often what parents do and sometimes get a little bit wrong, right? As the kids are leaving the nest and doing their own thing. Like, there's a lot of adjustment there, but this is an arseholey move. We use the term arsehole here lightly because you're not really an arsehole. You're just in the wrong, which is the question being asked, right? Are you in the wrong for asking for the boss's number? I personally feel you are. Do you agree? Let me know downstairs in the comments. Be kind, remember, we're just trying to have peaceful, lovely conversations that expand our mindsets and show us other points of view. Oh, I felt that one was pretty straightforward though. Should we see what other people have to say? Yes, you are the asshole. And I have to say, as a supervisor, it's weird AF to have one of your subordinates' mums call or text to check on him. This age of helicopter parenting needs to end. If there's an emergency, call your son's phone or send him a text that says it's an emergency and to call you ASAP. You have zero reason to be in contact with his boss. Totally agree. And as I said, if it really was like a super emergency and your phone's not being answered, you can call the restaurant. You can visit the restaurant. As you said, it's only a 17 to 20 minute drive away. I'm very embarrassed for the son, having his mummy calling and texting the boss constantly. You know she's going to be doing that. You are the arsehole OP. Kid is an adult. Leave him alone. Harsher than I would have said it, but yeah, it's facts. It's facts. You are the arsehole that's incredibly weird and controlling to want his boss's personal number. If there's an emergency, call the establishment, not the boss directly. There you go. I feel like we've covered all the bases there. Should we move on to another? Am I the arsehole for telling my fiance's family that he's unemployed after they kept implying that I was a gold digger? This sounds like drama. So, my fiance, man, 33, comes from a well-off family. I, 29-year-old woman, come from a working class family. My fiance's family are nice, but they can't help throwing comments about how I might be a gold digger. For example, if he buys me something, they'll go, "Ooh, Jason bought you that? You know what this looks like, right?" Or, "Wait, Jason paid for this? Only gold diggers make their partners pay for stuff all the time. Just saying." I can't believe for a second that somebody would put up with that. Clearly you're not. You're on here, right? I imagine you've said something and now you're being called an asshole. That's why this post exists. But even after just one comment, not even a direct comment, after an insinuation, I would be going to my partner and being like, "Your family just did this, and that is not okay. Are we going to speak to them together about this? Because I'm not having it." It's so demeaning. My fiance does nothing to stop it. Bad fiance, especially now that he's in a bad place in life after he lost his job. Oh God. And since he's keeping it secret, I'm the one that's paying for everything. It's been going on for 4 months. I will read further, but already your fiance is such an asshole. To have like this huge secret that you're harboring from the family, to be accused of being a gold digger and then to not be able to tell them because it's not your position to tell. That's such an uncomfortable position for your fiance to put you in. It's so not okay that he's not standing up for you or talking out about it. No. Last week, his parents invited us for dinner and he insisted that we go, so we went. At the dinner table, his mum grabbed my hand, literally whilst I was eating, looked at my bracelet and went, "Oh, this looks really nice. Did Jason pay for it?" I nodded and reminded her that he bought it for me as a birthday gift last year. She was like, wonder how much it costs. And then leaned back and said, "You know, I remember when my brother was dating this gold digger woman." She's not even trying to hide it. She'd receive expensive stuff like this, pointing at the bracelet. I was so stunned, I cut her off and asked if she meant to say that I was a gold digger. She threw her hands up and went, "I mean, if the shoe fits." Whilst laughing awkwardly, silence took over. I looked at my fiance and he shook his head at me like, "What?" I snapped. Damn right you snapped. You stand up for yourself. If your fiance's not going to stand up for the two of you, you stand up for yourself. You put that fiance and his whole family in the bin and you find an environment where you are respected. That is not okay. I told her it was bold of her to imply that I was a gold digger when I'm literally providing for her unemployed son. Have been for about 4 months now. They all look shocked. She glanced at me in shock and his dad asked if it was true. My fiance just froze but looked so angry. Ugh! An argument ensued, dinner was cut short and we had to leave after they started berating him. Oh, so when they berate him, then your fiancé will get his butt up and actually do something about it and remove himself from a situation where disrespect is happening. But when you get berated, no, he won't do anything. He'll just sit there eating his food. He had a rage fit in the car, just yelling and lashing at me. In my defence, I said that I sat by and let his mum continuously imply I was a gold digger, but he said that they never outright called me once, it was all in my head. Now you're being gaslit? Now you're being called a liar when you specifically said that she specifically... No. He said I still had no right to take advantage of his unfortunate circumstances to get back at his mum and expose him to the family. His parents went on about how disappointed they were, and now as a result he's now disinvited from Thanksgiving. He blew up at me because of it this morning and kept saying I screwed him over so badly when he was just an innocent bystander. Am I the asshole? Babe, you are so not the asshole. I'm so sorry that you're even in a position where you are questioning whether you are the asshole. That to me just shows that you do not have the respect that you deserve in this relationship. I very rarely, in fact, I don't like it when other people go, run, cut this relationship off, dump him. Like, we only see a tiny fragment, right, of what's going on in these posts, and it's only ever one side of the story. And as you know, there's always 3 sides, yours, theirs, and the truth. But I have to say, even I am inclined to say this is not a relationship that you should be in. Just from this alone, there is so much toxicity happening. You being called a gold digger, your partner's family just clearly not respecting your history of where you come from and having issues about you joining that family, not even you as a person, but just you as a label, which is just worse in so many ways. And then the fact that your partner isn't standing up for you is actually then blaming you. This is not okay. Okay, does he kind of have a point in that it wasn't your story to tell? I did say that at the beginning. It's not your story to say that somebody else is unemployed. That is true. However, if they're not standing up for you and their story is now entangled and part of your story, because it is your story too, you are providing for him and you are being called a gold digger when you're not supposed to be, and he's not standing up for you, so why should you stand up for him? No, I'm sorry. But yeah, I totally see in this point why you would share that. I would have done the same thing, and I wouldn't feel any remorse about it, because that is not okay. If the partner had been like, no, come on, she's not a gold digger, come on, she provides for herself, she pays her own bills, she supports her side of everything. If my partner had said that to back me up, I then wouldn't have gone, oh, by the way, he's unemployed, so I do it for him too. But if you're not receiving the support, how can you expect to get the support? No. Love, relationship, communication, respect, it's all a two-way street in a couple. And now he's annoyed at you about Thanksgiving. That is his problem. It's because his parents are mad that he is unemployed. He shouldn't be shooting the messenger, which is exactly what's happening now. And the thing that I can't get over is the fact that he's trying to tell you that something didn't happen when you clearly said that it happened. It's not the first time that the family's called you a gold digger. It clearly got so bad that it escalated into the situation where you guys left. And he's saying, oh, they didn't outright call you a gold digger? We are not going to be splitting hairs over semantics. The point is, you didn't respect her when you needed to, and that is your fault. You were a bad partner. you are super toxic and you do not deserve to be in a relationship with someone who's been looking after you for 4 months. And it's not the 4 months thing. That was just me being irate. Let's see what other people have to say. Well, not the asshole. He didn't stand up for you, so he finally stood up for yourself. I'm thinking his parents will back off now. I'm thinking so too, babe. He's lashing out because he didn't have the balls to stand up for you against these rude ass people. And secondly, your information embarrassed him because he's too much of a woman to stand up to tell them the truth. Agree. Not the asshole. That family and the loser son they raised sound like an army of red flags. Holy shit, this is some movie level comedy drama. He should have stood up for you and you shouldn't have had to take that crap from his parents or anyone else. Good on you. This is all very harsh, but honestly very true. I really hope he manages to see this, see these comments, and do whatever feels right to respect herself, because not okay. Not the asshole, but run. Am I the asshole for asking my brother to stop saying that he is helping me? What is it with family overstepping? I, 29, am a single mother, financially stable, also helping my parents with money. My brother, 39, so 10 years older, always says to his friends and to everyone he knows that he's supporting me and my kid, and also the parents, and that all of us live on his expense. I have my business, and I'm proud of myself. Go you. Weird brother, but go you. I don't like that all of our common friends think that he's supporting me. A few weeks ago we were going together with him and our parents and he brought it up again like he's helping me. It drove me nuts. We had a big fight. He called me a bitch for asking him to stop telling everyone that he's supporting me and my child financially. Am I the asshole? Just to confirm, your brother's going around being like, ah, yes, lovely weather. By the way, I support my sister, her child, and our parents. Aren't I great? Totally lying. Why would you do that? Send your brother the bills for the next month to pay for. Let him live up to his words. Better yet, send the bills in the family chat saying, thanks, brother. Great idea. I think you have this backwards. Instead of getting mad at him saying he's supporting you financially, you should have him actually live up to what he's saying. Tell him, $500 or you'll tell everyone. I really like the idea of sending an invoice every time he says it. Okay, everyone in the forum that I'm looking at has gone down a very specific direction. I wouldn't have said that, but I appreciate the sentiment. Sure, invoice the guy. Here we go. So to be clear, he's lying to get people to think he's a good person, or if that's the case, not the asshole, your brother is weird. I hope he's just responded and gone, yeah. Then babe, you are not the asshole. Totally not the asshole. I'm questioning why you haven't done it sooner. Saying to the OP just before, look after yourselves. If anybody tried to come out and say in any way that I didn't earn what I earn, maybe that's a trigger point for me that I'm like learning now, but that would royally piss me off. Like, I would not hesitate to correct whoever it was saying that. To be like, babe, I do this myself. I do this myself. Totally not the asshole. Should have done it sooner. Your brother's an asshole. Let's move on. Am I the asshole for putting my house on the market? A little background. My husband and father of my kids died when they were 11 and 8, 10 years ago. I'm so sorry to hear that. There's been other trauma, with one of the kids having an emotionally disturbed mental illness that's resulted in trauma for both the other child and myself. Both kids have identified the house as a potential trigger. The housing market by me has been super hot for about 2 years. It was very hot before the interest rates really started to rise, but sure, yeah. Interest rates are spiking rapidly. And prices are expected to drop an additional 10% in the next year. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do this in any kind of jest. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. In the months since I decided to sell and having the house ready to be put on the market, the asking price decreased by $25,000. Both of my kids are away at college now. My older daughter is getting married in August, and my original plan was to sell after the wedding that I'm paying for 100%, but with the potential of losing 100k, I've decided to put it on the market now. My older daughter's plan was to never move back home, but to move straight from college housing to the future apartment that she will share with her fiancé. Neither of them have a nickel. The day the house goes on the market, the older daughter calls me and is losing her mind that I'm not considering her in this, and that I'm taking away her stability. She says this is severely affecting her mental health because she no longer feels secure, and 100k isn't worth taking away her stability. Am I the asshole for prioritising some financial security for my later years over her feeling of security? P.S. There'll be a bedroom for her wherever I move to. Do you know, if it wasn't for the fact that your daughter had a mental health issue, that was confusing me because you say the house has been identified as a trigger. But my point is, when people are struggling with something, especially with something that isn't always rational and understandable, which mental health disorders can absolutely do, especially when they're rooted in trauma, it can be really tricky for people to see rationally. So if we were to take that to one side and just imagine for a moment that that didn't exist, I would absolutely be saying that you weren't the asshole. But the reality of the situation is probably that if that didn't exist, this wouldn't be an issue because your daughter wouldn't be acting in the way that she's acting now. Does that make sense? This hits kind of personally as well. I see it. And I have to put my bias to one side, because one of the things that I absolutely struggle with is seeing situations where someone, the mum in this case, has a whole lifetime of experience, right? Of buying houses, of understanding how money works, of going through that relationship, of making the life move of moving, and then wanting to move to have a child, particularly a child who has never bought before, who has no experience whatsoever of the housing markets, or really an understanding of life, right? Because at that age, I didn't either. And my point is, when you are so inexperienced, as a teenager, trust me, I thought I knew everything. I knew nothing. Jon Snow, I knew nothing. We should be understanding where their viewpoints are coming from, but we also have to remember whose house this is, whose life is predominantly being affected by this, whose money this is, and who, providing they're truly making the right decision, right, like in their heart of hearts, that is best for everybody, who actually has the most say here, who we should be listening to. In scenarios like this, the kids should not be listened to because they have no idea what they're talking about. So no, I still don't think you're the asshole. I do think it makes it a little bit tricky because I have no idea. As you said, you just put like a little line there, right? And I mean, even if you did provide more information, it's not something that I have experience in dealing with. I understand that mental health issues can make things incredibly tricky, and sometimes there's no explaining it. And I don't really think that anyone can confidently sit here and be like, oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Your want for $100,000 is significantly more important than somebody else's stability because you're even providing her with another room. Like, that's fantastic that you're doing that. Maybe to that person, it's not enough. It could be that a large part of your daughter's trauma is around losing her dad, which of course is also your husband, right? But it could be that the house is that sense of security for that reason. And even if you give her a nicer room, a bigger room, more stability financially in a different property, it will still have a net negative effect because it's not the house that her dad has been in. Do you see what I mean? We just don't know. But at the same time, does that mean that you shouldn't be living your life and doing what's right for you, especially when your daughter is moving out, has no intentions of coming back, specifically wants to move in with a partner who is a fiance, by the way? You know, there's some stability there as well. Your life doesn't stop just because you have kids. You involve your kids in your life and your moves, but ultimately you are still your own person. I think this is probably the right move for you. I don't think your daughter's being an asshole either. I just think she's struggling. Should we see what other people have to say? Oh, that felt like a little bit of a tricky one. Do you agree, Peaches? Let me know. Not the asshole, it's your house, you do what you want. That's a very simplified way of saying it, sure. But obviously in reality it's not that simple because there are other people that you have to consider. Not the most helpful advice. Not the asshole. If she needs a safe place, she can create one. It doesn't mean you have to stay in the same house for the rest of your life just in case she decides to use your home as her safe place. Tell her you're sorry she feels this way, that she might want to call her therapist and talk about it, that her home will always be wherever you are, but you aren't going to enable this behaviour. I think that's definitely a very sensible way of putting it. Again, I think the whole not enabling this behaviour is something a rational mind will be able to understand, and sometimes with huge changes like this, rationality doesn't always come into play. Not the asshole, it's your house, and don't plan to downsize space for her out of your next house. She can feel whatever she feels about it, but she needs to process it and move on. You're not doing anything wrong. And I think that's the most important message to take from this, right? If OP ever sees this, or if you are watching this and are in a similar position, you're not doing anything wrong by prioritising your needs. That's what you need to do, because at the end of the day, that's what your daughter's doing, and that's what she needs to do. That's all we can do. Be compassionate, be understanding, but ultimately do what is best, the right thing. And in this situation, the right thing is to move. Okay. I thought the first ones were too simple. It got quite tricky in the end. Let me know your thoughts, my loves. I'd be interested to hear. Overall, I can safely say that family absolutely do overstep. These 4 cases have not been the first, and they certainly will not be the last. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. We're going to do Am I the Assholes weekly here on this channel, and I'll see you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day. Bye!